media is addictive. I think we all know that because we're all in some sort of committed relationship with our daily dose of likes, shares, and comments. So as long as this remains a casual and a fun sharing and documenting of experiences, it's all very well. But the danger, the real threat comes when it becomes an obsession. If it's bad for adults, it's even worse for teens and preteens. We're going to be discussing, of course, the world of social media and teens is really vast and expansive. We're going to be discussing one aspect of that today. The fact that teens are looking to social media to find some kind of validation. The fact that they're willing to go to any extent to actually get that admiration from peers, from strangers sometimes. And of course, the threats and the risks that they're opening themselves up to. So my panel today has some answers, some recommendations, but certainly a lot of experiences. So let's get to meet them. Rashi Bijlani Tandon, she's a clinical psychologist and rehabilitation psychologist. She works extensively with adolescents and young adults and also their parents, I think more importantly. She's also an accomplished dancer, Bharatnatyam dancer, and has taken her skills forward as a dance movement psychotherapist. She's also the founder, president of Asha Hai, a center for dance movement psychotherapy. Welcome, Rashi.
Thank you.
And we have Sakshi Sindwani. She's a fashion, beauty, lifestyle vlogger and has an extensive following on social media. You would already know her page, I'm sure. Style Me Up with Sakshi. She's probably the most uninhibited person I know.
Probably.
And her honest, body-positive videos have made her a genuine influencer. Welcome, Sakshi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both for joining me today because I think you both got some very interesting perspectives to give for this particular subject. Rashi, I'm going to start with you. So, we know, I think it's basically science that tells us that all of us have this need for validation, for the seeking admiration and approval. Is it more so for teenagers? And within teenagers, is it more so for girls?
Well, actually, this age is so confusing. Adolescence, I think, something just tricks off when they reach 12, 13. And so something that psychology really speaks about is conformity. And it's not just for teenagers, but it starts from us as well. We are always looking at what next. So what I want. So desires, of course, definitely don't end. But something like when we are adults, so something that proves my existence. I have arrived. If I have a fancy car, I have arrived. If I have that corner office, I have arrived. If I will have that corner plot, I have arrived. So somewhere we've also taught our children in a way, even if not exactly telling it to them, but somewhere modeling it for them that only when I have these physical things or when I have something external, it makes them, we somehow...
It means something.
It means something. So it's not just that, we as parents or we as adults have stopped looking inwards at ourselves to actually see what our self-worth is. So which is what children are also now doing. And they start from very young. From the very front, we don't appreciate just the effort, but actually where you have to reach. Even like sometimes when I'm working with children, parents tell them, wasting time at art and you're not good enough. Why waste time at this? You can't just do a hobby because for the fun of it, you have to excel at it. Right, even if you're doing a hobby, you can't just. That pressure is always there. You can't just. So if I love to paint with colors and I don't create a product, it means that it's worthless. It's useless. And करोगे क्या आप musician थोड़ा ना बनोगे मतलब क्या what will you become and only 1 in a million can become a fancy musician or you can reach somewhere. So I mean all of this kind of becomes very so none of this is actually supported. So children kind of get into this race, and if you're not good at this one thing, somehow being on social media, and it's also positive reinforcement. As soon as they put a photograph, it becomes into a cycle. So then they're constantly looking कि like आया कि नहीं आया, comments आए कि नहीं आए.
And it's instant.
Yes.
It's right there in front of you.
Yes, and they're looking for how many likes. And the kind of photo that gets a lot of likes, that kind of photo is replicated again, because if you look at it, it is social conformity. What is being appreciated? What is it that people are wanting? And if my parents are not actually giving me that appreciation or those likes, I'm getting it from the other people.
Outside.
And I can have as many friends on Facebook as I want. Yes. I don't have to have just like 2, 3 that actually exist. But I can have
the meters of the metrics of my popularity have also changed. Yes. Because of, social media and the kind of changes in psychology and I think the whole social psychology.
Social psychology has really changed. How? So there are not just groups, like I don't hang out right now just at this group, but there's a Google Hangout. Or there is a WhatsApp group.
That's
so
right.
your acceptability has changed its realms. And children, so for parents also to understand that children are actually facing difficulties and pressures that we did not face while growing up. For us, getting home, plopping our bags and getting out to play was the fun of it.
Absolutely.
And so all of those things have stopped. Children don't just play in the just don't play on the roads.
Just don't play
On the roads anymore. I mean, there are so working with young ones, there's a full concept of a new play dates that has been organized, and they just don't. So we could just go in the gullies and start to scream at each other, come out and let's go out. That doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen anymore. And safety is like a huge part of it. Like how do children do that again? You know, like that's also a huge part of it.
Sakshi, in fact, talking about the way things have changed, for you, body positivity has been an issue. You mentioned how you have fought against bullies almost all your school life and everything. Things changed for you when, you started your own social media network, your own channel and everything. But it's not easy, being body positive on social media.
It's not easy with so many things, to be honest. On social media is a hard place. Like we're evolving, but it's not like of course social media, there's so many people who have an opinion of you. They're constantly like keeping up with your life. People would hardly know about like what's going on in everyday basis
But
in
that
your
doesn't
life.
stop them from
But now
commenting.
like thousands and thousands of people know exactly what is happening on an everyday, what I eat, when I sleep, everything. They're keeping up with everything, of course. It's actually a very weird thing. All of my actual real time life, like in school and in college, I was bullied a lot by real people. And as soon as I came on social media, and I started like building and like a sort of an empire, like a community. Where it wasn't just like my relatives and my friends watching the videos. It was strangers,
far beyond,
and
of
they were very like supportive of it. Like they were very kind, because I have a majority of women audience any which ways. So they were like super kind, and they were like accepting of my body. That's when my idea of body positivity even came about, because before this, like I never thought of myself as a body positive influencer. It was just like a term that people, of course, influencers is a term that people give you. You never give yourself the term I'm an influencer. You're just a content creator, right? You're never an influencer. But if you do end up influencing people along the way, then that's the term given to you. But I was very fortunate enough that one, my audience was so like supportive of everything. That
And
they
you
gave-
mentioned you found it to be a safe space for yourself.
Yes, definitely was a safe space. But of course, as you grow, there are all kinds of people watching you. So a safe space isn't that so much of a safe space. But when I started my YouTube journey and my Instagram journey, I was in my final year of college. So I was well aware of everything, like the pros and cons of social media, and what to post, what not to post, what are my boundaries. And another thing is, for a lot of girls and a lot of people in general, social media kind of starts without discussing it with their parents. Like parents don't even approve of a lot of YouTubers who still exist. Like they're making YouTube videos and they're online and they're making whatever content online. Their parents or their relatives don't even know about it. So it's not like an open discussion that people have. In my case, that was quite the opposite. Like I was very, very honest with whatever I was doing. My parents were fully involved. Not just my parents, it was my entire khandan, like that. My entire family was super like invested in everything that I did. So of course I felt like I wasn't making any wrong decisions. Plus, the kind of content that I was making was very family friendly. And I will continue doing so because that's my brand.
In fact, that was my question. So what did you choose to do? I mean, what was that? Was it a conscious choice that this is what I'm going to do? Because I've been through, trolling and bullying and all of that. Was it a conscious choice to go with family-friendly content?
For sure. Like, before I started, like these were a few principles that I knew that I would constantly keep in mind during all of the years I'm going to be on Facebook or Instagram, on social media in general. Those were that, one, I will not use any kind of abusive language. I'll keep in mind the language. Of course, a lot of people who watching me belong to the age group of 13 to 19, 20-year-olds. So
very
whatever,
vulnerable, like you
very,
said.
very
Yes,
vulnerable.
absolutely.
And the kind of content that I post, I need to add some kind of value in their lives any which ways. That was something that my content has to either be like positive content that makes them happy. They watch my videos and then they instantly feel good about themselves, or like it's informative, or I do a lot of styling videos, so of course fashion related, so I think some sort of value. It shouldn't be like without like any end, like what is my end goal with creating content. So I have something that, I have to keep in mind, okay, this is why I'm creating content for, and that's stuck to my branding always. So even if I wear like a certain dress which probably people will be like, oh, this is a little too much, like I can see a little bit of your cleavage, or whatever it can be. It can be anything really,
Right, that
right?
comment.
But there's a very thin line between like something that is beautiful and that is good visual, and something that is just creepy, and you shouldn't be posting this online.
I like the word creepy because sometimes that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's got no meaning whatsoever, and
Yeah.
that's it. So I think it takes a lot to find that balance. I know, to
Yeah,
be able, especially
for
when you're
sure.
flooded with content which is not quite the same family-friendly kind of, content.
Yes.
It is ironical that we are having this conversation on social media about social media, but I think Sakshi, you brought out that point that when you're putting something on social media, it has to add some value.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
think that's hopefully that is what we are doing as well. But that was the intention, to be able to share experiences, have
Yeah.
fun with it, document some, have a little bit of value
And you
add
shouldn't
wherever it
take
goes.
social media too seriously also. Like
Right,
for me, like I never, like it was a creative space for me. I come from a proper science background. Like I've done zoology honors in my, like I had medical in my school. Then I had zoology. I did zoology, BSc zoology honors in my graduation. Like I was a proper like nerd. But like I still had this creative vision. I was always interested in cinematography, like production. This is something that I was constantly told, Sakshi, you can't do this because you're a girl. You
Oh,
can't be a
great.
filmmaker.
That's the first
that's constant.
stereotype we want to
Yeah,
break.
like that was something that I've been told constantly for years and years and years by people who were very very close to me. So people
Right,
would constantly underestimate, because that's how what society tells you.
Does. Absolutely. Yeah.
Girls are not supposed to be doing something, or like you won't be that good at it, or you're mediocre. Listen, there are some people are very blessed to have a certain skill set, but others have to work on it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There's no
You can be,
gender.
yeah, you can be mediocre, and then you can build on your skill
Sure.
and just become great. And I felt like, yeah, I mean, thank God I did not give up on things that I was interested in, even when everybody else thought I was mediocre. But like,
Well, you proved them wrong.
things
Nice and
things
proper.
turn out the other way for sure.
Yeah. Rashi, in fact, I want to bring you in at this point because we're talking about, how social media has taken on a different dimension totally, and how it's become a tool for measuring my own self-esteem and my popularity, my very being. So why has that happened? I mean, is it something that we parents have missed out? Why are children having to look outside for that kind of support and validation and emotional sustenance, I would say?
Well, actually, see, I don't see that parents have missed out also on something, but having friends has now changed meaning.
Right.
It's not just having physical friends, but also having social media friends. Having a life on social media also has added a part of their existence, and it makes sense to a lot of youngsters now. So it's not about
So it's not just about parents?
no, it's not. Yes, I don't think so.
That's a relief.
Yes, a lot of times parents want to say, well, have we done something wrong? How have we have we put them on social media? But of course, there is a good age, I would think, that children should be on social media, the time that they spend, because to be honest, I think it can just take over too much time. Just being online and just scrolling on
right,
Facebook can take up to half an hour, 45 minutes. You wouldn't even know where the time...
One go.
Yeah, you don't even know where time went. So it would be, I think, because I feel that we are still parents, so asking and talking to children also about it. I feel at this age, children don't really need parents now, because I think after the age of 12 is not what they need parents. They actually now need companions. They need partners who can speak to them, talk to them, because what they do is a confused teenager will speak to another confused teenager, giving all confused advice to each other. So,
That's so
yeah. So having the real deal, which is us as parents, to talk to our child about what is happening, and not considering any topic as taboo. Speak to them in case your child may want to talk to you about what kind of photos are appropriate, what is not appropriate, what dress is appropriate, what part to reveal, how much to reveal, if I have to use a makeup. if my child is confused about watching porn or speaking about even things like drugs and sex, I would think
Yeah.
talk to them
Yeah.
about it, because they're definitely going to ask someone. So they
it's better you.
than
And we missed out on it. Like my parents never, like, for majority actually, it's the majority. Like
Yeah, but
our parents
social
never
media is
spoke.
new. I mean, we don't know what it is. We're still kind of grappling with it. So,
Yeah.
which is probably why you missed
I mean,
out
not
at
just
some
like
stage.
there's a lot of like discussions. Parents, regardless of whether it is going to be on social media or not, like they should have conversations about that.
Sure.
And just the entire like now I feel like after I turned 21 is when I started feeling that okay, now my parents see an adult in me. They can have conversations that they wouldn't have at all, even when I turned 18. The actual adult age, that's even then they wouldn't have those
won't, yeah.
conversations with me, and they would like openly talk to me like
Right.
from a person to person.
But that needs to happen, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
what
just
you're
like
saying.
the relationship of can I see a friend in my parent, and that needs to be there for all of the parents, I feel.
So that's probably a good note for all of us,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. For the longest time, I think the biggest worry that we had was the kind of content our kids were exposed to. You know, whether it was films or television. Until it was films and television, we were able to keep a certain restriction. We had our parental controls, physical parental controls. Ki nahi, get up from here and go. No, you will not watch that movie. Now with the internet, we don't have any of that. But I think my fears have changed. Now I'm also worried about the kind of content my child is posting. Sakshi, what are your observations about that, especially with teenagers? Have you seen some kind of a change
Oh
in
my
the kind
god,
of
so
trend?
much, so much. I feel like in the past 2 years, I've definitely seen a lot more teenagers are online on social media than they ever were. And their concept, even if I feel like everybody thinks that they've become like a blogger or an
Oh, yes,
influencer
of course.
online, regardless of whether how many like are you actually blogging or are you actually vlogging or whatever,
what is
like
the
creating
content you're
content.
putting up?
Yeah.
Right.
So just becoming just the conversations that children have started having, like even my younger cousins have started having like तूने मेरी picture देखी, I posted it यार, उस पर भी 50 likes. It's not just the children, it's the parents also, like
I mean, I'm
it's
not going to deny
everybody.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's everybody.
No
People are
judgment there.
obsessed with it, and the more obsession is always bad. Like
Yeah.
whatever extreme obsession is always bad. So if you like get obsessed with, okay, I'm not getting enough likes, or am I not getting enough comments,
Right,
or not enough people are following me, you start going down the wrong route, like the wrong path, and posting content which one is not safe, one that you should not be posting at a certain age,
Right.
and just the entire thing of like you're 13 years old or 14 years old. Are you even allowed, like have you even taken permission from your parent before posting a certain thing? And everything stays once it's online. Everything stays, and you wouldn't know, like in 10 years time you might like majorly regret a decision you would have made when you were 13 years old, and you had no idea that posting a certain picture where you just in a it's a compromising picture, just in like it's not
Sexualized.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's the word that I have been using over and over again.
Yeah.
I know it's a strong word, but it's a fact. If a child, because I mean, I'm not going to call a 13-year-old and even a young adult, because if a child is putting up a picture with low cleavage or a very high hemline and things like that, provocative posture,
Yeah.
it is inappropriate, it's
Yeah.
sexualized.
Yes.
And I'm not making any moral judgments over here, it's just simply age inappropriate.
and sexualized by like other 14-year-olds.
That is the other
You know,
problem.
it's their peers, and they would start seeing girls differently, and then that's an entire like a huge problem any which ways.
Absolutely.
And then
the comments that come.
Yeah, and
You're looking so hot, looking
Yeah.
so sexy.
Yeah.
Why should a 12-year-old be described like that?
describing another
It's
like
just
girl
wrong.
like that, no, it's absolutely wrong, and I feel like there's a certain age of doing anything. Social media for everybody is it's a very difficult place as you grow, as more and more strangers like start following you. It's definitely like you'll get a lot more comments and interactions and like DMs of
Right.
how you're looking, how are you looking, how is your physical appearance like. So, I mean, for a 13-year-old, what if somebody post something really mean or photoshop something, or like play with the picture a little bit and repost it, or some fake account repost it, or starts a rumor, like that can scar you for life. That can seriously scar you for life. And I feel like you have to be very, very just mindful of what you're posting, when you're posting it, and who are the people seeing this.
So that's
you know.
another misconception. A lot of kids feel that ours is a private account. It's not a public account,
Yeah.
so it's safe.
Yeah.
But there's
It's
nothing
never
safe.
private.
Yeah,
The
it's-
entire school is following you. How is it private?
The entire school is following you. That's the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Even if it's private, you've got 400, 500 people following
People
you.
following you.
Kids.
Exactly.
Yes, kids. Yes.
Equally confused kids,
Equally-
like you
equally
said.
confused,
Yeah.
yeah.
And wanting to talk about it, because again, like I said, who wants to talk about my own problem? I might as well focus on someone else's problem
Yeah.
and make that bigger.
Yeah.
So do you see how she was? How did you see what picture she had put? How was she looking? Rather than talking about anything that my messy life may be happening right now, it's too much to talk about my messy life or something that's happening in my life. I might as well just talk about someone else, which is what, again, like I said, we as adults model it for them. वो देखा था वो क्या पहन के आई थी?
Children love gossip.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, so do we as adults.
So that's
but
what I'm saying.
I think at
Like,
a
we have
certain
to-
level.
Yeah, we have to. We have to actually, all the time, whenever we are parenting, actually parenting as a journey, I always feel is a modeling journey. You have to show that little person what you want them, how you want them to be that, and only then expect anything miniature would create out of that. Yeah.
We were talking about, how children are reaching puberty so much earlier now. So physically, maybe they've reached a certain level, but their mental maturity is not.
Teen doesn't come
keeping
at
cap.
13 anymore. It
No,
starts
exactly.
at 8. I think
at
sometimes 8, 10. Yeah, yeah.
8, 10,
Yes,
right.
yes, yes.
So fine. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about 10 because 10 is just scary to think about. But yeah, it's frightening. But let's say, I mean, an older child, a preteen, of course, they don't have the sense to even understand their own urges or anything that is happening in the world around them, especially relating to the body, the physical body, and sex and things like that. How are they expected to filter out the kind of content they're getting? Because what they're seeing is essentially all inappropriate content, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Even content, when you're watching anything online, I think media and online is so smart. If you, if I'm, for example, if I watch something on YouTube, automatically a new content will pop up because you were interested in this. Something else would pop up, and they figure out your age or anything. So children who are growing, they will start getting newer content. So
And it's not always appropriate.
It's not always appropriate. And then, there are also like these pop-up and flashes. Are you interested in speaking to somebody? Are you looking for a friend? So, all of that. And a child who's already confused, maybe like if you're...
Scams.
Yeah, and somebody who's, for example, facing a bullying in school or someone is socially isolating them. If they actually get an opportunity to have a friend online, why not? Why wouldn't they take that opportunity? Because they need someone to talk to. They are actually feeling socially isolated, and which is what we are as human beings are. We are social beings. We want to be associated with somebody, and our parents are not giving that to us. Our friends have socially isolated us, or at least from our intellect purpose or from what I'm feeling right now, I'm not getting to be with somebody. So that loneliness also sometimes wants me to seek external validation.
Validation, right. We have a question. Geetika is asking, does watermarking help? But here, Geetika, the point is we don't want that content going out beyond. So I think watermarking would come if you want to protect your content, if you want to make sure nobody's misusing it. Here we're talking about inappropriate content that children are putting up without really thinking about it. Actually, that's another ironical thing, that children these days, especially preteens and teens, they're the ones who know the most about technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm constantly asking my children about, okay, how do you do this and how do you do that?
Yeah.
But when it comes to safety and when it comes to these kind of, basic safeguards, they're not very smart. Age.
Also at that point, I think even in your life, when you were 13, 14, you thought you knew life.
Right.
It's only when we've grown up to realize, oh no, we did not know we did not know anything.
We didn't know nothing.
So like what Sakshi is saying, that have you asked this from your parent? Because when you will be much older is when you will realize that when you were a 13-year-old, you made a bad decision, and it could scar you for life. But at that moment, it just feels that I know it.
Yeah.
Just because mommy papa are saying I have more,
I know what I'm doing.
Plus,
Yeah.
you're in that rebellious age
Yes.
where you just
Yes,
want
yes.
to I'm gonna do what I feel like doing, and I don't need as you grow older, that entire feeling. I think the age between 13-year-old and being a 17-year-old is it's a very you get influenced by too much, and everybody is puberty is a difficult time too. The
As it is, it's
hormones
difficult.
are just all over the place.
All over the
People
place,
are
yes.
hyperactive and just
everything in your body
making-
is changing.
Everything in your
Everything
body.
is like,
Yes, exactly.
So, in fact, at this stage, Sakshi, you mentioned that, it's you have a clear direction as far as your content is concerned.
Yeah.
But don't you feel tempted? Don't you feel that, maybe
Um,
sometimes maybe you should just put something which will get you that much more traction?
I mean, honestly, for me, even if for me, like posting a picture in a bathing suit or a one piece, when I'm on the beach or when I'm like on the near the pool or something, for me, like I try to divert that from, okay, this is a very sexy picture to, oh, this is such a body positive picture, I can wear it too. Like I try to divert how people are like seeing the
Seeing
picture.
it. Yes.
So for me, like I am always very, very this thing. Even if I'm posting a certain picture, I'm 20. I'm going to be 24 years old very
You know what
shortly.
you're doing.
I know what I'm
Yes,
doing.
sure.
So I stand by a cause, and
Right.
if anything, if this inspires somebody to just I don't know,
Wear
post
something
wear
and
whatever
wear
you
what they
want,
want.
post whatever you
Not
want
be conscious
Yes.
about
yourself, then
right?
that's
Yeah.
my motive behind a certain picture.
Absolutely. That's a different context
Yeah.
then. You've
And
changed the
trust me,
context.
that gets so much more real engagement because people are relating to it and they're like, you're inspiring us more than, oh my god, you're so hot, sexy, blah blah blah, whatever,
Yes,
XYZ. And they're like,
yes.
thank you for doing this. I love getting the comments where people are like, just because you posted a picture in Goa when you were wearing this one piece, inspired us and just gave us the freedom to wear what we want to wear on the beach, because that is something that you should wear on the beach. You shouldn't be in a kurta pajama or you shouldn't be in underwear at the beach. Like if you want to wear it, whatever you want to wear, you should have the freedom to wear it, and you should wear it with confidence.
Context. I think that's just basically it.
Yeah.
Age appropriateness and context. That's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And it's of course content creators like you, influencers like you, educators, counselors, psychologists, parents, all of us are stakeholders in our children's lives, and we have to understand that we all have a responsibility over here.
Yeah.
So you, when you're creating content, me, when I'm going back home, I need to keep the communications open, the media, in terms of what kind of content is being served to those children. So for sure, absolutely. I think that is one of those things. Another question, Rashi. A lot of parents feel that my child is still young, 10 साल का है, उसको ये सब समझ नहीं आएगा. So what if he watches a movie which has some sexual content or is exposed to some language? उसको समझ नहीं आता है तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? फर्क पड़ता है?
I mean, I'm sure they are very smart. I mean, for whoever, I mean, I don't know a single person who's ever said कि मेरे बच्चे dumb है. तो मतलब
That's true, that's true.
and you always feel that the child will understand something. And if nothing else, for their age, and if something is new, children are born curious. So if there's something new that they're seeing for the first time, they're going to be very curious about what is happening. If somebody's sitting in a different posture, if two people are doing something, are they getting close, intimate, and nothing else, the first time, if it's a 9-10-year-old, they definitely have some set of hormones that are going to start tingling when they are going to watch any content.
And it stays with you, right?
And
Those
it's-
images will
yes.
stay, of course.
And at that moment also sometimes what parents tend to do is want to turn off the TV, want to change the channel, or say, "Achha, abhi ye nahi dekh sakte, don't do it." That actually increases their curiosity
Yeah.
more.
Right.
That why can't I watch it? What was wrong with that?
Yeah.
What was so different, and why am I not allowed?
And there's a good chance the child might go behind your back and watch
Watch
it
it.
somehow or the other.
And what's something wrong?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's
And what's something
very,
wrong in that
very,
case?
very wrong. So just like normalizing a lot of things, like one when you're 13 or 14-year-old, even if there is something which is censored, like in a movie, it's not going to be that explicit any which ways if you're watching with your parents. So just like normalizing, if there is a kissing scene possibly happening in a movie, then just like not reacting to it goes a long way, because you just feel like you're normalizing that, and
You mean versus running to switch it off
switch
or
it off,
change
and
channels?
yeah, because that's just going to make me feel, okay, there is something wrong with it. And what is wrong with it? I'm going to get curious now. I'm going to like search XYZ, like I'm going to Google search it, and
Find
Google
it
is a
somehow,
dangerous place to be in.
sure.
So internet, like searching anything, web is a dangerous place. So if you search whatever, like you're going to get wrong
How to
suggestions,
do a kiss?
and
What is a kiss?
it's like a cycle. So what you search is what you suggested. So it's like an entire cycle. So wherever, like if you search something on Google, like even if you're on YouTube or even if you're on Facebook, similar ads are going to show up.
Yes,
Similar like suggestions are going to show up. So it's just like a trap. So it's best to gain that information or whatever like you're curious about from the people you trust, your family, your friends, your cousins, your brothers and sisters, rather than like an internet source.
That is, of course, by far the worst source. We know
Yeah.
that,
Or also children, I feel, ask questions to their parents.
Right.
That what is this happening? What are they doing? I mean, they may want to pose it very innocently because they are trying to be innocent children by asking their parents. And for all you know, they already know. कि तो kissing चल रहा है या you know
Of course they know.
they're making out. So you know they after they ask कि क्या चल रहा है, rather than saying not to answer it or to change the channel or saying that this is not
ये तुम्हारे मतलब
ये
का
तुम्हारे
नहीं है.
मतलब का नहीं है. Talk to them. I think explain to them that what a kiss is when people do like each other. Explain to them what affection is. Explain to them what attraction is. Explain to them what hormones are, because this is going to happen to them.
The healthy
Yeah.
explanation.
And this is what is exactly physical anatomy of your body is going to ask this of you. This is your basic need. When you will see someone else, this is what is going to happen inside of your body. So they know what is the exact feeling when it will start to happen inside of them. So they know this is not unnatural. This is going to happen. Now they can be watchful and mindful about it before they're going into it. It's more conscious rather than like what we do. We repress everything into our unconscious and then everything starts to act out of that. So what we currently know today are all the issues and difficulties that we are going through and which eventually our children will go through. But if we are aware of it, it's more conscious to us. So then we're acting out of a conscious decision. Whatever's coming into our psyche at that moment is more conscious at that moment. Yeah.
That's a really good point. We also spoke with a cybersecurity expert, Mr. Rakshit Tandon. We asked him about the various threats and risks that children are actually opening themselves up to. And we know that they are more vulnerable, and there are those risks which are going to happen. So we have a short video for you, and we'll just play that.
Across the country, when I speak to children, is about cyberbullying, cyber stalking and harassment. They face a lot of problems related to their account safety and privacy. And some more, if you look at more dangers, then we have few things which are coming up and emerging is sexting. A lot of children, they come and complain that their personal pictures are gone viral, somebody is blackmailing them with their personal picture, and this is where they land up into serious issues. And one more thing which I have seen is the children before the right age are trying to access websites and tools and applications which are not advisable to be used. For example, social media. A lot of children before the right age, that is before 13, they try to sign up accounts on these social media sites, which causes a lot of problems and challenges. They make anonymous friends, they don't even know them, they chat, and the content which they're getting served is not right for them for that age. Second biggest challenge is that they fake their age, so they become 18. So now a 19-year-old person becomes a friend with this child. His actual age is 11 and he's talking or communicating with a person who's 19 and 20 as a friend, and that is a challenge. I get issues of cyberbullying where their pictures are being misused, they're being made fun, they're being trolled, and they don't know how to handle these issues. They get into depression, they start flying away. So this is where we have to educate them about netiquettes and how to be safe online. So a lot of online predators are there where we have to safeguard our children from these predators, and obviously the content. So there's a lot of pornographic content. If a child at the wrong age starts consuming this kind of a content, he's in trouble.
So when I asked him about this common perception that we just talked about, about having safe accounts or private accounts, and he asked me if I was for real, because obviously there is nothing, like you said, nothing stops at a safe or a private or a small group.
Yeah.
It can very easily be screenshotted, it can very, very easily be shared. And what is important to remember is that your digital past is your future. So your colleges are looking at it when you're applying for them, your workplaces, it's going everywhere. I think a lot of the background checks are being done on the basis of your social media account. So please remember, we have to tell our children to remember that, this whatever content they're uploading is going to follow them.
For a lot of teenagers, like, I'm so sorry to
No,
cut you off,
please,
but I feel like for a lot of teenagers, they started like posting about their relationships also too early.
Okay.
So just posting a lot of like private content between like somebody who is a 16-year-old with their another 16-year-old boyfriend, just posting a lot of content which not necessarily a 16-year-old couple should be posting at all.
For sure.
Or like your partying is such a huge thing when you're 16 or when you're 17, when you're still in school. You're introduced to
What
the
a
entire
crazy
era.
party you had, or-
You're introduced to the entire, like, you're introduced to alcohol at that age for most children.
Yes.
And then posting about it like on your social media and like
Boasting.
boasting
Boasting
about
yeah,
it,
right.
and just boasting about a lot of materialistic things. It stays. Even if you delete a post, it stays, because people are going to think of you,
In a
like,
certain way.
yeah, in a certain way. Plus,
Right.
the first impression is always going to last for a very, very long time.
Absolutely,
So how, like, I remember like how I think I used to think of my schoolmates back then. I still think of them as now. Like, no matter how much they've changed, that the first impression of how they were in school still stays with me, because they are my school friends. School friends are always school friends, no matter how old they grow. So it's just, yeah.
So another point that is there is that, for a child sitting behind that computer and a slight, somewhat of a wall of anonymity helps in some way. Is that right? Does it kind of make the wall between real and virtual just go away? That computer screen, is that the wall?
Well, it also makes you, it creates a fantasy. It can create it can create something, and you can be in a different world altogether.
Right.
And that always more happier than what I am in right now.
Right.
I mean, all of this is
My
actually,
make-believe world.
yeah, and actually this is also causing a lot of, the rise in depression has happened
Yes,
so
yes.
rapidly.
That's
over
exactly
over
the point that I wanted to come to.
over the
that-
past,
yeah.
over the past, I
And
think, a
relating
decade.
to online behavior.
Yes.
So explain that a little, Rashi. I mean, what is happening exactly? Online behavior, fine. I've put up a certain kind of content. I'm looking for validation from my peers. What happens next?
Because you stop liking the way you are right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes, a lots of times, I feel children don't look like children anymore. 16, 17-year-olds.
true.
I mean, when we used to, I remember, I'm just saying that we used to always stay in the same clothes for the longest time. School uniforms used to not matter how they looked, if your shirt was tucked in, out, how your hair was tied. I mean, it did not matter at one particular time.
Makeup did not exist.
Did not
Makeup
exist.
didn't
yeah.
exist.
For 16 and 15-year-olds, they're proper like makeup artists. They know how to contour, they know how to like highlight, they know
16-year-olds.
everything.
Yes. They have very, very
I
fancy
wasn't
and
allowed to
Yes,
touch makeup
yes.
at that time.
yeah, we were not allowed kajal, I think, till like I think 18. You're not allowed to wear it to school, definitely.
In any case.
Which is
Yeah.
fine. Honestly, like playing with art, playing with makeup or whatever, like dressing up is
Exactly.
fine.
Appropriate. Again,
Appropriate dressing up is fine. And I mean, this is just something which is happening, like looking older than
Yeah,
how
looking
old you
older
are.
than what you are. Because
It's a lot to do with what they're seeing when they see a Kylie Jenner who at such a young age had a different kind of a profile and an image. Obviously, you want to emulate that kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, then sorry.
this is what causes them. So, for example, so there's a young 14-year-old that I work with, and mom always used to keep that's what the mom said, that before she comes to therapy, 2 hours she does makeup. So I used to always feel like she's to, like, how you swipe right for a filter. Like I feel like she'd put on a filter and come, because she used to work so hard, dressed impeccably, looking at a certain way while even walking into therapy, which is a space you can actually be the way you are, and you can be vulnerable, you can say what you want. But there is just that I have to be a certain way. So this image of perfection, which we are at some point, we have to take it out of our children's lives. There is no perfect mom, so there is no perfect child.
Because that's leading to such severe mental health issues.
And because social media is letting you be that perfect person.
Social media is letting you
Letting you be that perfect person. So I can change. So there's a makeup app. You can change the way your face looks.
absolutely,
You can change the way your body looks. I can trim something. I can extend something. I can color something. I can take my face so, after adding a filter, making it look exactly the way I want.
Cheekbones, contouring, everything you're talking about can be done online. Yes.
So a lot of children are actually sitting behind. I'm working with another girl who goes to school. She's made an agreement, I'll go to school once a week. And other days she's behind, so the doors are closed and she's online. Or she's on the phone, or she's on the computer. She's on Instagram. She's very well read. She knows about what she's going through. She came and she listed her symptoms to me, that this is all that I'm going through. So right now I'm depressed. I do not get sleep. I'm going through insomnia. I need these particular kind of psychiatric pills. I understand that, but I do not want psychiatric pills, hence I've come for therapy, and this is what I want to go through. So,
Oh my God.
So,
so all this information is definitely available online. You know what depression is, what are the
I don't
classic
even know what to
symptoms.
say actually. Because
Like when
this
she
is-
came, I said, people like I wanted to tell, okay, so now tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Now actually, now that you haven't read anything,
Right.
now is what I need to work on the emotions of the child,
Yes.
because they are never addressed. अभी मत हंसो, अभी रोनी रोनी, चलो चलो आंसू पोछो, ठीक से बैठो, अच्छे अच्छे, कैसे अच्छे girl, come on, how does a good girl behave? Or no, boys don't cry. So all of these we're constantly telling our children, but where are all those emotions going to go? They're all going to go and get suppressed somewhere in our bodies. Overall, when I look at it, I look that this is not acceptable. I am not acceptable. We've stopped. We've categorized our child into a good child or a bad child or this behavior or that behavior, not looking at it as a human being. It's going to have all these facets, and that's what my child is. Constantly, when we're comparing outside, our child is comparing themselves to a perfect child. Now, as parents, when we try and do this, we are actually we have a fantasy child. That मेरा बच्चा ऐसे होना चाहिए था, and we are constantly saying आपको ना ऐसे होना है. So we are constantly comparing that child to our fantasy child. What happens with the children is after some time, even if they get the parental acceptance, that parent has become their internal self. Now they cannot validate themselves. So that internal validation keeps going higher and higher, and then that's where children come crashing down. What's the point? The cases of suicide have also increased is because now they want stop button. Anything is better than this rat race. Because it's exhausting to be a certain way, and I can never reach it. I can never reach that perfect person because it doesn't exist. It's like going to infinity. I keep going, and I will never reach it.
it's really not easy being
It's
a
not.
youngster in
Yes,
these
yes,
times,
yes.
and I mean all that we can say over here, I totally sympathize with them because this added layer of the online, the digital world has really put in a lot of pressures, I think, which didn't exist earlier.
It didn't
So,
exist, yes.
yeah. In fact, just to give you an idea of how rampant this is, a survey on cyberbullying, India has topped the list of 254 countries for cyberbullying. 32% of parents surveyed in India said their children experience cyberbullying. So, I mean, we are topping the list somewhere and not in the place where we want to. Parents in India also reported the greatest intensity of cyberbullying. On a regular basis, 13% of parents said that yes, their child is experiencing, continuing to experience some kind of abuse or threats online. The frequency of cyberbullying in India was found to be higher than in the US, UK, and France. Now, what is different now? I mean, bullying has happened, of course, on-ground bullying. All of us have faced it in school. But again, those stories now stay with you for eternity. And the cyberbully has that added layer of anonymity.
Yes.
You'll never know who it is unless you go through, various different kinds of hacks, and you go to the experts and get those kind of.
Doesn't even require face-to-face interaction.
It's so easy to bully online. Sakshi, your full-time job is on social media. Now, what are the learnings that you would like to communicate to youngsters out there? We've got parents watching, and I'd really like you all to, get your children to watch the show. I think there are a lot of things which are of relevance to all of us, parents and children alike. So, Sakshi, from your point of view, from your experiences of social media, from your experiences of validation, we talked about it yesterday, and you mentioned something about, going beyond that virtual world and seeing what really matters.
Yeah.
What have you learned?
I mean, for the longest time, like I personally struggled with there is a difference between my real life and my social media life, and I need to stop few hours of my day, even if it is my full-time job, even if it is my job to check my social media, to constantly
It's your
post.
job. Yes.
It's my job. Like I do handle calls or meetings or emails or whatever XYZ, all at the end related to social media. It is my job. But it's very important for me to just leave my phone for a couple of hours and sit with my parents and have real-time conversations. And have spend time without a phone. I should not be constantly glued to my phone. That's another thing I struggled with initially a lot, but then it definitely for sure leads to some sort of you're gonna burn out. There will be a burnout. There will be a definite burnout, and it did happen to me. Trust me, and
that could happen in different ways, like
that
you're
can happen
saying.
in different ways, and I realized it as it was happening. And I realized, because one, I'm waking up at 8, the first thing I do is check up my phone, check my phone.
yes.
So I'm like flooding myself with all of this information first thing in the morning, while I should be like probably one, greeting my parents, or like sitting with my dog, or whatever. I'm like, I'm not, my eyes aren't even open, and I'm checking who like messaged, who DM'd, or how many likes I've gotten on the post that I posted last night, or whatever XYZ. Just it's so much information to take in, and that's the kind of mood that I've set myself in for the rest of the day. So I'm constantly like hyper and constantly stressed out about all of the things, and then before I go to sleep, I'm still on social media at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and I just like, I'm sleeping and then I'm back again, and that just
It's
causes
relentless,
so
right?
much stress. And your eyes, you can have eyesight issues, you can have like medical proper like issues. Like I have a family history of anxiety any which ways, so I'm a very anxious person in general. Me, my sister, my mother, like we all suffer, like we face a little bit of anxiety. Of course, like different levels. My mom faces a lot of anxiety. Like she has like proper struggles with anxiety. My sister has proper struggles with it. I'm not at that level, but still, it's still there in me. So I like I saw myself like my anxiety increasing and increasing and increasing
Right.
as the days were going, and that led to a burnout. And my content was definitely compromised. I did
You could
not
feel
create.
that?
Yeah, no, I wasn't
Right.
creating. I was just creating content because people are like, you have to be consistent, otherwise you're not going to be. You know, people are not going to follow you anymore, and you're not going to be valid anymore. And that consistency, I'm like, अरे इतना सारा pressure, अभी content भी post करने ideas नहीं आ रहे, मैं it was too much.
Which is a pity, because the whole idea of your being on social media is to unleash your creative side.
Exactly.
So
And then I was in this entire like, you know, like this trap of just constantly feeling like I'm not good enough, because I was so anxious and so worked up all the time that I was not giving myself the space to breathe.
And this
So
is you in your 20s,
Yes,
when you
then when I
have a
started-
full-time job that
Yes.
relates to all of this.
Yes.
So think about a child.
Childhood.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's been like a few months, and I've started like practicing it, that I wake up at a certain time. I never at all, no matter how urgent the work is, I will spend 15 minutes of my time in my bed cuddling my dog.
Okay.
I'm going to be giving kisses and hugs and just starting my day with positivity. I'll go down to the washroom, I'll come back, and then I'll touch my phone. So this is something that I've
Are you
started.
able to do that?
Yes. On most days,
That's
for
a lesson
sure.
for all of us.
For
I know I
sure.
wake up and I look at
Check
my
the
phone.
phone.
Before sleeping,
Most
the
days.
last thing you look at is your phone.
No,
so
most
that's
days
incredible.
most days I'm doing that. 90% of the days, like
Fantastic,
I'm doing that, and exactly at 6 or 7, maximum 8. That's it. That I cannot do more. I need to go off to my dance class. My dance class is in the basement. I cannot receive any calls. I cannot receive any network there any which way. So it's my time for me. Like for 2 hours, I'm working out. Whatever
On
I'm
your
doing,
own,
it's I'm
yourself.
I'm not touching my phone at all. I'm not touching. No matter how urgent the work is, it can wait. I need that 1 hour to myself.
So is that a message that you'd like to tell everybody? I think
Yeah,
we
for
all
sure,
need it.
for sure.
That,
Like even moms, they're sitting,
yes.
like I see my mom sitting at home. She's a housewife, so it's very easy for her to, okay, now I'm cooking, abhi Facebook pe acha ye message aayi ke abhi, then I'm doing whatever course, she'll constantly, and she's constantly on Facebook. So another thing is like, give yourself a breather.
Just give yourself a breather.
Yeah, and I think about a few months back, it was suddenly started happening that me, my mom, and my dad were sitting, like, you know, you have a dinner and then you're sitting at the table. All three of us are on
phones,
on
the
phone,
yeah.
on
I
phones,
see.
and
That's
that
a typical
went
family
on.
meal these days.
So many times
Yeah.
in restaurants. I've
Always,
seen
in restaurants, yeah.
Yes, yes.
I've
People
seen like
are
small
not-
kids.
We're not talking to each other. Me and my parents, we stopped talking to each other altogether. मतलब हम लोग dinner कर रहे हैं just for the sake हम बैठे हुए हैं साथ में. Like there is no
No
communication.
communication, which used to
For
be so
sure.
much fun. Sit on the table, talk about your day.
Day. That's the only time you get to talk about your day.
Fortunately, it has stopped. Like
Yeah.
we made a conscious decision of like, no, this cannot be happening.
Come on, we can all do this.
We can all do
I
this.
think,
Yeah, it's very easy.
It's very easy
It's
to
very
do.
easy. It's
Right.
just willpower. Like,
Absolutely.
let go. Social media is not all your life. It is a part of your life.
Yes. That's a great tip from Sakshi, and we've also got some tips, in fact, from Mr. Rakshit Tandon, our cybersecurity expert. And he's basically talked about the basic things, what he calls cyber hygiene and etiquette that every parent needs to put into place. So let's watch that video.
Cybersecurity for children, first is netiquettes and cyber hygiene. The devices they use should be protected with good softwares like security softwares like Quick Heal, Norton, Intel Security and many other products. Parents giving devices to children should, especially below 13, should have parental control softwares installed on it. There are many lot of products which are available in the market for parental control. They can control content, they can control misuse, viruses and malwares, and teaching them netiquettes and cyber hygiene. So I think it should be a very important part of every school curriculum now, that right from day one children know how to use a device safely and what are the rules of online safety, not to be lured by any stranger online, not to get into a trap of a predator. Cyberbullying is an offense. They should know the cyber laws as well, that what are the laws. Hacking is a crime, sending back pictures is a crime, posting abusive content is a crime. So when you teach these basic things, this is how you can create safety for children online. For the age, I said that it depends upon the application and the usage. Yes, if the children below 13 to 14, if you always give them a desktop, that is a better option, rather than ekdam se giving them a laptop or a tablet where they get 100% privacy and they are not educated and they are not guided, then it creates problems for us. So it's better to have a desktop at the early ages. But web, yes, you can expose them to internet, and there will be no age bar for that.
So we're back over here. We've been talking about how kids need to be taught the law. If they're online, if they're on the internet, they need to know what is right and what is wrong, and Mr. Tandon pointed out there. I have a few pointers as well, and I'd just like to add a quick note since he's already mentioned it. There is no separate law to deal with cyberbullying in India. However, sections of the Indian Penal Code which deal with criminal intimidation may be applicable to cyberbullies. That includes defamation of the victim by the bully, which includes sharing of inappropriate photographs. The Indian Penal Code now includes stalking, sexual harassment, harassment in general through electronic means. So that's a lot that is covered already. There's also a provision for punishing the violation of privacy, and that can be applied in such cases. So I think that's, again, that whole anonymity of the virtual world is there, yes, but there are safeguards, and I think we all need to be aware of that both things. If we are being violated, go ahead and report. There are lots of cyber crime cells now. The police has those in almost every large city. Online, you can also reach out and ask for help. And that is, of course, if you've been violated, but please make sure that you are not violating somebody's privacy. I'm going to ask you now, Rashi, to, end this with a few tips for us. As parents, what do we do next? What are the things that we have been doing? You've spoken about that, but if you just had to summarize it into a few points, what would you tell us?
I think the most and above all, which is what I tell all parents, is that keep maintaining that connection with your child without sounding like the figure of authority in a way, or saying it that we know better. It's
because I say so will not work.
And it should not work, because our children are I genuinely think they're very smart. They're absolutely well read, again, maybe thanks to Google in a way, but all information is accessible and they do access it. So they will logic and argue it out, and most of the time the only thing we are left with is saying, because I said so, kyunki maine mana kara hai, isliye nahi karna hai. Talk to them about dates, take them out if you feel like it. Know their life, because that's their life. And if you're going to tell them not to do something, it's not that they're not going to do it, but they're just going to keep you alien from it, and you're going to miss out on this huge chunk of their life. And
these are the best years. Yes. These are the fun years.
I mean, think of it. The first time you saw someone, you got attracted to somebody. What did it feel like? The first time, we saw somebody. Shah Rukh Khan or Hrithik Roshan, whoever came at our time. We looked at them. What did we like? Speak to your young ones about it. What happens? Right. So, like I said, earlier they did need a parent. Now they don't need a parent. You've already been that. If you've done some rule setting, you've done some boundary setting, it's all done. Now what they need is a companion right now. Yeah. And also, like what also Sakshi was talking about, I feel teach them what is moderation. How much and how much to use for everything. I think moderation doesn't only go according to social media, but how much to be on your phone. And also when speaking to them, look into their eyes and not into your own phones.
Oh God, yes. I think that's the most important message for us all, to lead by example.
Yes, lead by example. Be the role model that you are thinking that your child should. But if you haven't done that yourself, you cannot expect them to be that way at all. And of course, like one thing, meal times, I think is something that I tell all parents: have a zone where you will not take your phones. Like particularly dining tables, do not, if possible, do not have TVs in your bedrooms, because TV देखते देखते बच्चे सो जाते हैं, and Netflix does not sleep. I mean, Netflix is competing with our sleep actually. Right. It says that Netflix competitors are YouTube, Amazon, and our sleep. So they are out there to get us. And who's getting them actually? They are getting our children. Somewhere adults are able to, I think age somehow puts you off to sleep, but children have a lot more energy. So I have so many.
That addiction.
Yes.
Your eyeballs are looking at something that instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
Dopamine and everything else. I don't even know what those words are. But
yes, actually that's what happens when you're watching this. Dopamine is actually the pleasure receptors in our brain. When we watch something on TV, or when we're on our phone, our gadget, it actually releases dopamine in our body. Right. So for me to get that release of dopamine that I get from my phone, to actually in real life get it, I have to play half an hour, 45 minutes, do 45 minutes of cardio. Hard work. That my dopamine gets released. I have to make a PowerPoint presentation, be successful at something, go on stage, or make a nice art portrait. Or like I said again, like for example, a dancer who has to actually put up a final piece on stage has to go through the gruel of learning something, of rehearsing it a few times, then finally putting it up on stage to get that dopamine release.
Which otherwise I get with one like, one comment, one share.
With being 4-5 minutes on our gadgets. So gadgets are actually designed by neuroscientists and psychologists and psychiatrists. So they are designed that way to get you addicted. If you are addicted, it's not your fault, because that device was meant to be that way. So they're actually getting our children. Right. So it's all the dopamine is actually all the play. Right. And again, dopamine is something also that how our addicted brain behaves like. So if something like how much gratification a peg of whiskey will give you, that is the same addiction that your phone and gadget is giving to you.
Correct.
And it's just socially acceptable. I mean, अगर आप बच्चे को दे सकते हो, giving your 8-year-old, 10-year-old a tablet, would you give your child a peg of whiskey? You won't do it, because people will think you're insane. But which is what is happening. You're actually giving your child a peg of whiskey. So I mean, we could be mindful about it, what we are doing and how much we want them to see on this.
I think that's the key. Mindfulness, awareness, lots of communication.
And
leading by example. It's not tough. It starts with us, as usual. I think the ball does come back into our court sooner or later. It's not all our fault, like Rashi has already told us. But yeah, we are definitely huge stakeholders. We all are, as content creators, as educators, as teachers, as counselors. We're all part of it. Parents, of course, we lead the gang. So I think this has been a great round of discussions or recommendations of your experiences, your tips. Thank you so much, Rashi. And thanks, Sakshi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.